Hi again, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. I'm Peter Schwartz, joined as always by Vinny Tickets. We've got a great show for you this week. It's all about the Islanders. A little bit later on in the show, we're going to give away some Islanders tickets. We're also going to give away an Islanders bobblehead, courtesy of our friends at FOCO. Vinny, happy holidays to you and yours. Welcome to another week.
Yeah, hopefully everybody had a great holiday week, and next 6 weeks go pretty quick usually, so let's see.
They sure do, and of course it's always fun times around this time of year. Everything is going on, especially hockey, and the Peconic Hockey Foundation has announced the opening of a year-round ice skating venue and training site on the east end of Long Island in Calverton. It's a full-sized NHL bubble rink. It'll host high school and college hockey teams and figure skaters, and this winter the rink is going to have a full schedule of Learn to Skate and Learn to Play programs, along with youth and adult hockey leagues and public skating. And the facility has been named the Ed Westfall Arena at Peconic Ice Rinks. Ed Westfall, the first captain in Islanders history, was also a longtime broadcaster for the team through the dynasty years, and he joins us here on Sports Bash this week. Eddie, it's Peter and Vinny. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, well, very exciting times, Peter, Vinny. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, congratulations on the honor of getting an arena named after you. And I know how much you have enjoyed living on Long Island since coming to the Islanders in 1972. You've made it your full-time home even after you were done playing and after you were done broadcasting. You're still a Long Island resident. What does it mean to you to have this rink that's going to be utilized by so many young hockey players and figure skaters on Long Island? What does it mean to you to have this rink named after you?
Well, it's you can never train for having somebody say to you one day, Ed, we want to name the arena complex after you, and I said, what? He said, oh yeah, for all the reasons that they gave, but no, it's very. I suppose you think about it. You know, when you have children, they don't give you a manual on how to raise them. And so,
that's for sure.
When somebody tells you, when two people tell you they want to name a rink after you out there in Calverton, obviously I had a lot of tears in my eyes, and I mean happiness. So, and then I think of all the time, all the efforts that other people, that they have put into this to make it happen over probably close to a 10-year period. So it's those people that really deserve the recognition. And I think of Troy and Karen Albert. I mean, they were the spearheads behind this. Their neighbors, their friends, all the kids, they really led the charge, and then picking up and going with it full blast for the full time was the owner of the Islanders and my good friend John Ledecky, and he's been a part of this from the beginning. And another fellow that I would be remiss if I didn't mention is Tom O'Brien. He was a big part of the banking world on Long Island and a tremendous supporter, of the complex.
I remember when Northwell Health Ice Center in East Meadow was built, where the Islanders practice now and have their hockey operations headquarters. I remember when that was built a number of years ago, and at the time, it was an important thing for Long Island, youth hockey and all versions of hockey, because there wasn't really a lot of ice space for kids to play on Long Island. You think about it, how long the Islanders have been around, over 50 years now. But from a youth standpoint, there really wasn't a lot of, ice space. I know families had to bring their kids to go play hockey in the middle of the night, early in the morning. Yeah, it's nuts. But I know even with Northwell and some of the other places in Nassau, the rinks in Hauppauge became huge. But out east, all the way out east, there's a real lack of ice. So this facility is so important to the kids, and I'm sure that makes it extra special for you, knowing that this is going to alleviate a lot of headaches for those involved with youth hockey on the East End.
And, absolutely. When you think of going from Orient Point or anywhere on the either fork, it was almost 80 miles from the end to get to Hop Hog. And and the fact that they're going to build two surfaces, I mean, I often think of a wonderful skating complex called Beaver Dam up in Locust Valley that I was lucky enough to be a member of for years. And they had a covered rink and an outdoor rink, and boy, did that get used. And it gave a lot of pleasure to a lot of young people and older people, you know, skating and playing hockey and family skates. I mean, it's just amazing what ice surfaces can do for the family atmosphere as well.
Yeah. So, Ed, when you talk about hockey, obviously you had a tremendous career. I think it spanned about 18 years, 19 years.
Matching his number.
Yes.
Matching his number.
Yes, matching his number. So originally, did you start as a defenseman? As when you were a kid, were you a defenseman growing up?
Actually, the first 2 years of minor hockey, I was a goaltender. Then I went to a defenseman, and I was a defenseman then through 4 years of my junior hockey career. And then the first 3 years of the NHL with the Bruins, I was a defenseman.
Wow. So you went from goalie to defenseman and then playing on the wing, right?
And then I ran out of position, so I had to get out.
Well, you found a great home with the Bruins. And by the way, we're talking to Eddie Westfall, the first captain in Islanders history, and he's going to get an arena named after him, the Ed Westfall Arena at Peconic Ice Rinks on Saturday. A great moment for 18. You found a great home with the Bruins. You know, hoisted the Stanley Cup with them, and then you found your way to Long Island via the expansion draft. And I know you and I have spoken about this a number of times about, you know, how stunned you were that the Bruins would leave you unprotected, but it certainly worked out for you with a long run with the Islanders, both as a player and a broadcaster and now as an ambassador. And I guess at the end of the day, things worked out for you when you came to the Islanders. Well,
you know, you're always a little concerned. I mean, I was scared to death. But anyway, when I got down here, two great guys who turned out to be also good friends, Roy Bowe, the owner back then of the Islanders, and Bill Torrey, who drafted me out of the NHL. And when they explained to me what they were going to try and do, after a couple of times with them, I bought in, and away we went. And I often think in my own personal way, I went to the Bruins and set all the NHL negative records, and then watched that franchise go from the worst to the best. And then I came to the island, and we broke all the negative records I set in Boston. then I watched my second franchise go from the worst to the best.
Yes.
So how exciting in the hockey end of my life.
And you know what? Also, now that you've got a rink named after you. You're in the Islanders Hall of Fame, and I want to carry the torch here, Vinny, for just a second, because a lot of people, a lot of Islander fans talk to me on social media, when, especially during the whole 50th anniversary celebration, and there were recently the retired numbers for John Tonelli and also for John Tonelli and for Butch Goring, but everyone says there's a number missing from the rafters, and the number should be 18. And you're in the Islanders Hall of Fame already. So here's what I would like to do. We have to get together a sit down with John Ledecky, the co-owner, and we have to get Eddie, we have to get two things done. Actually, we got to get three things done, but here's the two most important. We got to get your number retired. We got to get 18 up in the rafters at UBS Arena. And then we have to get your broadcast partner, Jiggs McDonald. We have to get him on that Hall of Fame banner. And we also have to get Pat LaFontaine, who's going to be at the ribbon cutting and the dedication of your arena on Saturday. Those three things we have to get done, and we're going to have to work very hard on this through the holiday season. What do you think?
Well, I'll see our good friend John Ledecky on Saturday. Mm-hmm. He's been kind enough to invite myself and a whole slew of my family who are going to be down here from different parts. Canadian parts, U.S. parts. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'll tell them that, look out, you're going to get worked on.
Oh, I'll be there too. So I mean, I'll pull them aside and tell them myself. We have to get your number retired. We have to get, and also all the years the Islanders have had these great promotional nights, and they've given away. I've got my Mike Bossy bobblehead doll here on display that you'll see on video, but they never had an Eddie Westfall bobblehead. We got to get that done too.
And to think that I was part of the company that actually manufactured it.
We got to get that done. Listen, Eddie, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Congratulations on the arena in the Peconic Ice Rinks, the Ed Westfall Arena at Peconic Ice Rinks. That's going to be dedicated in Calverton on Saturday. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for all the great memories that you helped create with the Islanders.
Peter and Vinny, have a great Thanksgiving, you and your families, and everyone out there that get a chance to hear this. And I really appreciate it. And I'll do the best I can.
Absolutely, Eddie Westfall, first captain in Islanders history. They called him 18. They called him Mr. Islander. I just call him Eddie, and he just a great thing for the franchise. We'll be back with more of Sports Bash, including our ticket giveaway and our Foco bobblehead giveaway. It's coming up after this. Welcome back to Sports Bash, LI News Radio, 103.9 FM, heard Saturday mornings, 8:30 to 9, and now an exciting moment for Vinny Tickets and myself, Peter Schwartz. This week was the first week that we can say that we've launched on YouTube. We've got a YouTube channel now, so our show is going to drop on Fridays on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search Sports Bash and subscribe to that channel, and all of the last 4 or 5 shows have already been archived by our main man, Frank, our video coordinator. He's done a wonderful job with that. So that's up and running. So not only can people hear us on Saturday mornings, but now they can watch the show in full video format dropping on Friday. So subscribe to it, and then you'll be alerted as to when the videos drop.
Yeah, I believe it's Sports Bash Radio is where you can, when you go to YouTube, you put in Sports Bash Radio, and you'll see the last 5 episodes of our show. We actually had a couple of guests on air that the video was taken for that as well. The one thing people have to realize, if you're watching an old show, you can't put in for any of the...
You can't put in for like the Mike Del Judas tickets, because we already gave those away, and other tickets. But that brings us to this week's giveaway. So you can certainly be a part of this. And we have an Islanders ticket giveaway first up.
Yes, we do. So December 7th, the New York Islanders, to enter the contest, you will text 631-250-6888. That's 631-250-6888. And you will text the word Sports Bash and your name. So that number to Sports Bash and your name, and you'll be entered into the contest to win 2 Islander tickets on December 7th, but not just any 2 tickets, tickets, lower level seats.
And it's the Islanders against the Columbus Blue Jackets on December 7th. As Vinny said, text your name and the word Sports Bash to 631-250-6888. Now, don't lose that number, because you'll need it for the Foco bobblehead giveaway as well, which we're up to now. And again, keeping with the Islanders theme on the show this week, our friends at Foco, great partners with us here on the show, and we've got some exciting bobbleheads coming up in upcoming weeks that we will let you know about in the coming weeks. But for this week, the giveaway, and this is a great, it's 2022. The All-Star Game was in Las Vegas, and Foco created a series of bobbleheads. It's an Islanders All-Star Bobble from 2022 in Las Vegas. It's a beautiful piece. Text your name and Foco to 631-250-6888, and we'll pick the ticket winner and the Foco winner on Monday on our social medias. Vinny Tickets on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and I'm at Schwartz Sports on Twitter or X, or Peter Schwartz Sports on Instagram. We'll have all of that for you on Monday. So 2 great giveaways this week.
Yeah, it's great. Don't forget to mention we have a surprise guest today too.
We sure do, and this is going to be a great new segment on the show. Whiz Kid Vinny is going to join us each week, and this guy is unbelievable when it comes to sports knowledge.
Encyclopedia.
And he is going to bring us a sports fact each and every week on the back end of our show, and we're going to get to him in just a couple of minutes. But first, I've got your question of the week. We
boy.
didn't have this last
Let's
week,
see.
right? So we have. Now, I made a mistake of including it on the rundown that I sent to you.
Well,
so
it's a good thing
obviously
I didn't read the
you
rundown.
didn't read it. As per usual, you didn't read it until you walked in today. So here is the question, and I brought this up because recently Taylor Swift on her European tour had to cancel a show. And that's happened here in the States and in North America. It happens. Sporting events get postponed for one reason or another, whether it was COVID back a few years ago or weather, or performers get sick and they have to cancel a show. So here's the question, as for someone involved with Ticket Bash and the secondary market, for people who buy tickets for a concert or a sporting event, and an event is postponed to a date or time that you can't go. You were supposed to go on this date. Now the concert or the sporting event is canceled. It's on this date and this time. You can't go. What are your options?
Well, with most ticket companies, now we need to clarify one little fact here. A lot of people will say when a show is postponed, in other words, there was a Madonna tour and a lot of the shows were postponed, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people will say, oh, she canceled her show. There's a really big difference. And in the industry, we're very sensitive to these two words. Those two words are postponed or canceled.
Right.
When a show is postponed, it means the same exact tickets that you had to that original show date and time will be valid on the new date. When the show is canceled, regardless of where you purchase your tickets, whether it's at ticketbash.com or any other vendor.
Even like if you bought them from Ticketmaster, right?
Yeah, it's a 100% refund. You may have to wait a little while from some of the vendors. We do it automatically. Now, to answer your question, it's one of the big advantages that we have. Our company policy is that if you own tickets to a show and that show is postponed and you cannot make the new date, we issue a refund. Most companies, probably 98% of them, your only option is to then relist your tickets or post your tickets for sale. So the two key words there are canceled or postponed.
Right. And that's obviously a big difference, because canceled, we've heard shows that have been canceled. It's not happening. You get your money back. But postponed, and it puts people in a difficult situation because you weren't able to go on a particular day. Now, what do I do? Now, some other companies, like you mentioned, now you're stuck with the tickets and you have to try and get rid of them. But with ticketbash.com, you get a full refund.
Yeah, it really becomes an issue when there's a show on a Saturday night. I think this just happened recently. There's a show on a Saturday night and they say, for whatever reason, the show's been postponed, but they're going to do it on Monday night. So, that's a little bit of a tough situation for a lot of people, but we work with people whenever we can on that.
And now we're very excited for the new segment of the show now each week here on Sports Bash. And again, we're excited to be on YouTube now every week with new shows dropping on Friday. And then you'll be able to hear the radio version of the show on LI News Radio 103.9 Saturdays at 8:30, from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. So we want to bring in Whiz Kid Vinny, and he is just an amazing maven when it comes to sports history and facts and records. And Vinny, welcome first of all to the show. I know we're very, very excited, Vinny and I, to have you be a part of the show each week. So in keeping with the hockey theme, we've talked a lot about the Islanders. You have come up with a hockey fact that it blew my mind when you told me off the air about it. I'm a huge hockey fan and I didn't know about it. But for our listeners and our viewers now, share with us this week's Whiz Kid Vinny fact.
Yes, guys. I'd like to talk about someone who I believe is a huge, huge snub from the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. And you would not be here today talking about hockey if it was not for this man. His name is James Creighton. In 1872, he moved from Halifax to Montreal to become an engineer. And at the local ice skating rink for McGill University, he'd be someone that would be judging.
By the way, McGill University is a huge university in Montreal. In Canada. A very, very big Canadian football school, too.
Oh, yeah. And, during some practice on his alone time, he would play some recreational, shinny with his friends. And then on this day in particular, March 3rd, 1875, remember that date, would be
I remember it well.
Well, he organized the first ever organized hockey game and the first ever game that was played in an indoor facility, and he created the first ever hockey club, which was McGill University's own hockey club.
And he's not in the Hall of Fame.
It gets even crazier than that. He was the first captain of it, and back then, it was very different. The sticks were from Halifax, and the pucks weren't even pucks. They were just wooden blocks, wooden squares.
That would be like keeping James Naismith out of the Basketball Hall of Fame.
It gets even crazier than that. 7 years later, he also created a traveling team in Ottawa called the Riddell Hall Rebels, and 2 of his teammates were Arthur and Edward Stanley. Those last names sound familiar,
Yeah,
don't you?
I've heard the name Stanley when it comes to hockey.
Yes, they are the.
I haven't heard it in a while for my team, but hopefully soon.
They're actually the sons of the Stanley himself, Lord Stanley himself, Frederick Stanley. And if it was not for James Creighton teaching his sons and Lord Stanley about hockey, he would have never given and donated the Stanley Cup trophy in 1892. And the rest is history. Put James Creighton in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
100%. Vinny, great first segment. We thank Whiz Kid Vinny, and that will do it for this edition of Sports Bash. Thanks to our guest, former Islanders captain Ed Westfall, and thanks again to our friends at FOCO for the bobblehead giveaway. For Vinny Tickets, I'm Peter Schwartz saying thank you for listening and watching, and don't forget to join us for Sports Bash every Friday now on YouTube with new episodes dropping, and also right here on LI News Radio Saturday mornings at 8:30. For Vinny, I'm Peter. Have a great weekend. Happy holidays. We'll talk to you soon.